Okay, so I'm kind of back at it. So we're continuing the ATS Robot series. And what I'm going to do is we're actually going to play, I have a very small scenario from one of the basic kits, the Hedgerows or Bust basic game. So what we basically have is we have a short, well, this 7 turns. I thought it was 5, but 7-turn scenario, but very few units, smaller number of units. We have some full squads, half squads, machine guns, light mortars, light anti-tank rifle, or bazooka. It's a bazooka. And then we do have some infantry coming in. So, and then for the Germans, we have 5.6.7, 2.3.8, 5, and so this is what the Germans have. They don't have any ends. So, what the goal for this is, so and what the victory conditions are, the Americans win the game, win at game end if they control a greater than or equal to 6 building hexes in a German setup area. So let's take a look at the German setup area. So the German setup area is hexes numbered less than 14. So 14, so all the buildings, so this one technically is one. So we have 14 is right here basically. And so the Americans have to get 6 or greater. So what I've done is I have set up the Germans here. So there's a building there. I kept the mortar next to here, so this way they can spot for this mortar. I also have some Germans right in here, also right there, and there's also a 50 millimeter mortar, and then some Germans right there as well. And so all these buildings right in here, so the ones that I don't have occupied right here, are all under German control at this point. With that, the Americans need to move across and try to get it. So I'm going to be playing the Americans, and the robot here is going to be playing the Germans. Now in this case, it says the Americans move first. So we are on turn 1, and I have everything I need here. I do need to open this up. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So what's going to happen is I'm going to move first. So I'm not even going to draw a card this time, because it's kind of ridiculous for me to draw a card and it ends up being the robot, and they don't have anything to do yet because nothing's in line of sight. So that's the key thing. Right now, nothing's in line of sight. I know with the robot, they do say you can use the cards for the die rolls. I am not going to do that. I plan on rolling because that is optional. You are able to roll for them as well. So I will roll for the Germans for the robot instead of using the robot itself. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to get started here. And I'm going to... Now I got everything I had to move some things around here, my setup. So I've got everything set up here. So I'm going to go ahead and move the Americans and move them into... so I'm going to do an activation with this, and because I'm going to move first. So with that, let's go ahead and get started and go with it. So my first activation is going to be, I'm going to activate this stack right here. I have an 8.7, 8.5.9, and a 6.5.7. So I'm going to activate this stack right here. They are going to, it's really not going to matter. They're going to move into the hex here. So I've got my little move piece. So, and I think what we'll do, so we are going to move into this, excuse me. So we're going to go ahead and move into this hex right here. So 1, 2. So we are assault moving. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this little guy right here. Now, usually when you're playing, you cannot, do a line of checks, line of sight checks. But in this case, since we're playing solo, and I will need to see if this unit can actually fire on this unit right here. So we are going to check. I'm pretty sure that it is not. Yeah, so it goes right over. It's a little, but it goes right over that bocage, which is a blocking. So these guys cannot see, and nobody else can see at this point. So we have our first activation done. Now we are going to draw our first card and see what happens. Let's go ahead and draw our first card. So first card is a player impulse. Okay. So that means, as the Americans, I get to go again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take Sergeant Bedke. And with Sergeant Bedke, he has a half squad and a light machine gun. So he is going to, we're going to move, he's just going to, I know some of these have little lines on them, and I know they were supposed to mean something, but what he is going to do, he's going to go, so that's going to be 3, because he's going over the bocage. Bocage is 2 plus cost of terrain, so it's clear. So that's 1, 2, 3. So this is 3, 4, 5. So then we have some woods here, and this bocage is blocking, so he can't be seen. Again, bocage was blocking right here, cannot be seen. So he assault move there, so he is now activation complete. We're now on to our next card. Again, player impulse. So the Americans get to move again. We will continue to move this way, but I think what we'll do is we'll move him down into here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll grab just another. He assault moved again, cannot be seen. Probably won't be seen too much this time. So there we go. Now, unless somebody gets seen here, this is probably going to be a pretty quick turn, and we'll see what happens on that one. And on to the next turn. Next card. Player impulse. I swear I did shuffle these, but here's the thing with this particular scenario, having actually the attacker move forward quickly is not a bad thing. As I have a 7-turn scenario. This one won't take too long. I'm going to kind of take my time getting over there. So what we're going to do, we're going to take Corporal Miller with a full squad and a half squad that has a bazooka. So we're going to take you, we're going to take them, and he's going to be able to move 5. So we're going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And he has moved up to the spot. Since he has moved in there, let's check and see if this corporal here can actually see him or not. We may have our first. He cannot because of the bocage. So no fire there. No opportunity fire or anything along those lines. Okay. And so we are all set with that. On to our next card. So we have our first robot player card. So with this, we are going to go from the top to bottom. If there's anything that can be done, it will be done. If nothing can be done, it will be pass. Now, real quick, wanted to go over this. Since they are playing defense, they cannot move, just like the golden rule, they cannot move out of an objective. Since the buildings are the objectives, they cannot move out of the objectives for any reason. So, first thing we're going to be looking at is an airplane. And an airplane attack, we don't have any airplanes. A CFF, this would be indirect fire. We can't spot anybody, so there's just no spotting there at all, so that's not a problem. And then mortar fire. Again, direct mortar fire, so nothing's there. Can we do smoke? We can fire smoke. And so this is place smoke on the highest value objective in a line of sight to friendly units. Well, there are no objectives to friendly units. So that I can tell, that I can see, because this blocage right here blocks plenty. Let me go ahead and move this up. So this is blocked in here. This one can't be seen because this blocage right here blocks. And so none of these over here can be seen. So we can't do any smoke on that. Do not place smoke where the FFE, yep, is usable for smoke, small as OBA. Okay, so can't do this. So next one we have is fire and closest. The robot attacks the player with a unit group with the closest to enemy unit stack. There's nobody in line of sight. They can't see anybody. They know they're coming. They still can't see anybody. And then, so we've got this, which is the fastest robot unit moves to the closest objective location. Robot will not move off of a defensive objective in line of sight of enemies. Well, they're all in objectives, so we're not going to even worry about that. And then this bottom set, so it goes highest value, strongest friendly, or friendly not in enemy line of sight. They're not going to move. So in this case, this will be a pass. So we have our first pass. Now this scenario, first turn may be a little easy on this one, but we'll see. Oh, I didn't see that one. Next card, robot player. Let's take a look. We're going to go through here. So, robot player will play actions of the strongest, will attack the strongest unit, strongest human player that has already been attacked this turn. There is none. Okay. We have no bonsai charges. Let's see here. Bot marked or enemy occupied firing. Bot mark. We don't have any bots. And then, okay, so robot unit with no line of sight to an enemy unit moves towards closest enemy unit. It first comes into line of sight of any enemy unit that fires the closest enemy hit eligible. Activated unit will not use running movement. The unit selected movement hex to this order. Safest in line of sight, greater than quickest, or line of sight to quickest, no line of sight. Again, since they're defensive units, they won't leave their objectives. So, again, pass. So that's 2 passes in a row. If there's 4, the turn can end at any point. So, we're going to move on to the next card. On to our next card. This will be the robot player. So this is the third, and again, we'll pass, since we're just going to pass that one. And then our next one is a player impulse. So that breaks the 4 pass mark. So luckily with that, we didn't end the turn. Okay, let's go take a look and see who else we have to activate. With this, what I plan on doing is taking this crew with this mortar, this 60 millimeter mortar, and we're going to move them 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to move them right there. We need to get them close to somebody so they can be spots and so they can spot. And we have now moved those. Back to the card deck and the card draw. What do we have next? We have another player impulse. Let's take a look and see what we've got. So we have these two left here. We're going to do some platoon movement. So since they're adjacent, we have Captain Paris right here. So we're going to do platoon movement, and we're going to move them along here. So we have a linear depression. And if you need to know what to do with that one, please see the linear depression article that we have on ATS FE. And we have woods. What I think I'm probably going to do is take them and stay out of one line of sight of the Germans here. And then we'll move up to here. So we're going to do this with the leader. That'll give us 5 movement points for the platoon. So we're going to go ahead and move. Now we have moved into here. All the units for the Americans have been activated. So let's see if there's anything that needs to happen on this turn with the Germans. These are woods. They are blocking, so I know none of these can actually see these because one we have blockage, and then we have the woods. So we're all good to go there. That's woods can't be seen. So all of the Germans have now, or excuse me, all the Americans have now moved. Okay, we'll take this robot player. Again, nobody can be seen, so none of that line of sight here matters. Now, if we were the opposite, and I'm just saying if it was the opposite, these would definitely be moving this way. So that's a pass. The Americans pass, that's 2 passes. Robot passes, 3 passes, and 4 passes. So we are now to the end of the activation segment at this point. So now we move on to the close combat, which there isn't any. And secondarily, then we move to the end of turn segment. So basically all we do is we remove all of them, and then we will shuffle up the cards again. As you see, we have recovered everything. All movement has been done. All the cards have been cleared. And one thing that I do want to correct, we do not shuffle the cards until there is a new orders cards. And so we keep these cards going until the end. But we are now on to turn 2 out of 7. And this will complete turn 2. Or turn 1, excuse me. This will now complete turn 1.